Hello everybody, welcome back to the movie review series. Today we'll be discussing The Internship. You know how we do it on this one. I'll give you my overall impressions and grade. I'll read the writer's or director's description of the movie. After that, after I give my grade, you're going to shut off the video. So we'll be discussing the plot in detail. There will be spoiler alerts. We're discussing any character development, maybe some similar movies or major themes. But wanted to find something different than like an action or like a violence movie or a crime or anything like that. So this was another one I had seen most of this one. I'd probably seen most of this, I'd say 70% of this movie, and thoroughly enjoyed it. So this one, it came out in, so 73% of Google users like this one, 42% of Metacritic like this one, 35% of Rotten Tomatoes, and 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb. So it was originally released May 29th, 2013, directed by Sean Levy. And so you have two big, I'll just read the thing. After an old school salesman, Billy, Vince Vaughn, and Nick, Owen Wilson, find themselves downsized, Billy decides that, despite their complete lack of technological savvy, they should work for Google. The friends somehow manage to finagle internships at the internet giant and promptly head out to Silicon Valley. Viewed with disdain by most of their fellow interns, Billy and Nick join forces with the rest of the misfit nooglers to make it through a series of competitive team challenges. So again, a lot of other people don't like this stuff, but I'm pretty much sure everyone just goes out there and just hate shit. But as a comedy, it's an hour and 59 minutes, rated PG-13. I honestly thoroughly enjoyed this one. And so what I liked about it was, again, just the levity. It was funny. I liked the PG-13 where it's enough, the jokes and comedy. Again, comedy's a genre that doesn't really hit much for me. This one did. But it's, in truth, I don't really search out comedy movies all that much. But regardless, just the dynamic between the characterizations of Billy and Nick I thought was extremely well done. Them kind of being like the father figures or the more mature people in this internship camp. I just thought it worked well. I thought the jokes were, again, PG-13, raunchy enough to be funny, but not like super detracting from just like kind of like a feel-good movie. It's definitely got some points. I also, again, came out in 2013, so it was like at the time frame, again, thinking like maybe there was opportunity into the world. And so just the underdog getting the good job or the whatever outcome was interesting at the time and certainly good. But I thought it was a feel-good movie with good humor and good characterization. So overall, I will give it an A-. Definitely in the well-done range for me. Not sure why everyone not liking it. 35% of Rotten Tomatoes, that's not very good. But people just look for stuff to hate. I thought this was just a fun, entertaining movie. And so they do a lot of like the high-flying analogy talk that I don't like, but for whatever reason, it just, the way, the characterizations and the writing was well done for me. So if you've not seen the movie and would like to, you're going to want to shut off the movie now, and we'll be discussing the plot. So you open up, and Billy and Nick are selling this like watches to some dude, and from the dude they're trying to pitch to, they learn that their company is shutting down, and so their boss, I guess, has sold the company or whatever, and he's moving down to Florida after he buys his wife some new tits. And so very quickly in the movie they are out of a job, and Nick gets a job as a mattress salesman. And I did not see on the cast list, but it was either Will Ferrell or another big name, well-known face was whoever the boss is at the mattress factory. He's trying to like Nick's boss at the mattress factory is another well-known actor. I think it's Will Ferrell. I can't remember exactly, but he's like helping this attractive customer like figure out a mattress. He's like spreading out her legs and having her do this and that. And it's raunchy. It's raunchy, but not too like super raunchy. But so Billy comes into Nick's workplace and is like, "Hey man, you know, I got this opportunity for us. You know, we have an interview to be interns at Google." And so Nick's not too sure if he wants to quit his job that he has now to go apply to be an intern, but he does so. They interview at a public library. They just, you know, they're not sure if the camera's on, and they're talking with these interviewers at Google. They have to be enrolled. The internship is for college people, so they have to. They're enrolled in the University of Phoenix, and so they basically kind of like bomb this interview, but not really. They ask them how do they get out of a blender, and it's supposed to be about some physics question or something. And Nick is down there as his background in physics, and Billy's background is in sales. But regardless, again, that scene was kind of dry for me, the blender scene. But just again, some of the banter I thought could have been a little tighter, hence the 8-. But overall, well done. But regardless, you have the Google team, who is Headphones, who you don't really learn until the end, is part of the senior advisors. Sergey Brin does make a quick cameo at the very end. But you have Mr. Chetty, who is the main leader of just the internship program. Then you have, who else? There is Dana. Dana is the girl that Nick starts to fancy. She's not directly in the intern program, but she works at Google. And is there any other directors or whatever? There's Sid is under Mr. Chetty. Mr. Chetty is under Headphones. And those are kind of like and then Dana is an employee. And again, they're on the Google campus. And that was another thing, I just like seeing the Google campus. It was like, again, a hopeful movie of like, maybe you can achieve something in life. And obviously in the real world, you can't get a fucking job anywhere. You can't collect your property whatsoever. You can't access constitutional rights whatsoever. And so I got denied dinner again yesterday, and I'll tell you that story in my language litigation series. But regardless, the investment committee, or basically, also Lyle is their team leader for this internship program. And Lyle basically pitches, these guys think outside the box, we're just different than our typical applicants, let's give them a shot. And you have a cut scene, and they get accepted. And so now they show up to Silicon Valley, to Google's campus, and they have a couple introductory meetings where it's like, will you get a beer with your boss? And, because they're like, 40, and everybody else is 21. And so they're like, well, you get a beer with your boss, and they have to hold up red paddles or green paddles, yes or no, and everyone holds up the red saying no, and Nick and Billy are like, yeah, for sure. And then they talk a lot, ramble on a bit, and Mr. Chetty's like, you guys are already impressing us to be terrible and proving us right that you don't know what you're doing or don't belong here. And again, throughout, just like the upbeatness of the writing between Billy and Nick, I thought was thoroughly enjoyable and a feel-good movie. But regardless, after day one, they realize they're not off to a hot start, so they need to get a good team for the next day. And I think the time frame, I believe, is over a summer. I think it's over a summer intern. The internship is over a summer, so like 3 months time frame. But you don't really have a great gauge of how long they're there. Regardless, they wake up the next day and they're trying to, it's like Mr. Chetty, Sid's rambling on again. Mr. Chetty takes the microphone and says, you have 5 minutes to find your teams. And so you have, who is the dickhead? I have it up here. Graham. So you have Billy and Nick, who are these older guys that are upbeat and kind of positive. A lot of the banter of, old dudes that don't know technology versus young kids that are savvy type of thing. Again, this was in 2013, so it was a little more relevant then. But regardless, they struggle to find a team, even though they're flaunting. Graham's picking out the hot chick and the guys that went to MIT, and Billy and Nick can't seem to get the squad with that University of Phoenix enrollment. So they basically get the leftovers. So you have Billy, Nick, Neha, who's this Indian girl, who would, again, a little older. I'm older now. I was more attracted to the Dana chick this time, but I also kind of thought the Neha character when I watched it was pretty attractive too. And so you have Billy, Nick, Neha, Stewart, and Yo-Yo Santos under in Lyle's group. And then you have Graham with some other minor characters, but he's like the dickhead. He's the really smart kid, or just the arrogant character of the show. And so the first challenge, I believe, is to debug some code. So Billy and Nick start rambling on just about saying absolutely nothing. And Lyle is a the social dynamic is, again, Billy and Nick are very charismatic, older guys. Lyle's an employee at Google, but very, very awkward. And the other team members, Yo-Yo Santos is, as a tiger mom. Neha acts like she's a sexual goddess, and then later on you learn that's not so true. And Stewart is just kind of the kid that's like, well, I'm fucked because I'm on a bad team. And so, regardless, they tell Billy and Nick that Billy and Nick's big idea is they're going to find the engineer that wrote the code and just ask him. And so they just kind of say it's Professor Xavier at Stanford, and make a joke about X-Men that goes over Billy and Nick's head. They go to Stanford to look for this guy. They find a guy in a wheelchair who's not Professor X, and he punches him in the face and in the dick. And so, basically, again, just the team members getting the old dudes away so they can work on the code. And so when they come back, they're eating lunch, and Billy and Nick are not accepted at their team's table. And then Lyle is way too socially awkward to force any sort of leadership or team membership. And so that happens. They go sit down with headphones for the first time because it's the only open seat. But again, Headphones is the highest ranking dude. Besides, Sergey Brin has a cameo, but you don't know who Headphones is throughout the movie until the end. And so they go sit with him, and Billy and Nick just talk amongst themselves because Headphones typing away at his computer and has headphones on. And so, what's up with the headphones? But everybody at the dog park's like, what's up with the headphones? But anyway, the next challenge is they have to play sports, which turned out to be a Quidditch match. And so they go down 7-0 about halfway at halftime, and then they rally up some team membership, some morale, and they come back, and I think they lose, but they come back tied at 7-7. No idea how Quidditch works. And some dude like on Tosh Point out when he has like the ring boy, who's just like this flamboyant dude, not super flamboyant, but this like dude with this like gold suit on and like has this like tail that has this like golden bowl and you have to grab it for the win. And he's like flaunting it around. Another goofy, funny character. But Billy and Graham both are at the very end about to get the thing, and Graham ends up getting it. So they lose again, but at least they build some team membership. And so I like Billy and Mr. Chetty's relationship throughout the movie. It's very fun, playful. Again, they're about the same age dynamic, and Billy's trying to get the job, and Billy's trying to like be friends with Mr. Chetty. And Mr. Chetty's just like playfully, but like, yeah, absolutely, I want nothing to do with you. And so the next challenge is they have to develop an app and just to solve a problem or whatever. And so Graham's group develops an app rather quickly. Lyle's team, they're not moving. They can't think of anything. They have no ideas. Billy has Exchangeagram, which really just describes Instagram, which I'm sure was really relevant in 2013. I think it was 2012 when that shit got really big. I can't remember. But anyway, they basically say, F it, we're going to go out for a night out and just, let loose and just have a reset. So they go to some Chinese place. Billy's speaking Cantonese and the other people are speaking Mandarin or whatever, but they have dinner and then they learn about this club, and he thinks it's a dance club, which kind of is. It's more of like a strip club or like a racy kind of club. And so these are all college kids with older dudes, I don't know, 40s maybe. But they go there to the dance club, and that's when you have Neha, who is again played off as being the sexual goddess. She confesses to Billy and Nick that she has done nothing sexually, and so because they're in this big sexual environment, she's just uncomfortable, doesn't know what to do, and so Yo-Yo Santos gets a lap dance and chums in his pants, and he has to like fucking dry off his pants on like the hair dryer, like with like the hair hand dryer in the bathroom, and Nick Campbell is pretty impressed about the reboot time. And so a lot of the edgy jokes in this one made me laugh, and the overall feel-good nature of it on the backside just really worked for me. So they have this thing where Lyle had taken a dance class at Google, and so he had this crush on this teacher. And this whole time, while they're developing these games, Nick is chasing Dana, who's this Australian lady that works there, and they have this conversation, this sleep pod about, like they have little sleep pods at Google campus, about, Dana, she kind of like projects, maybe I'm a 30s executive that's worked her whole life and I'm missing out the opportunity to date or to have kids. And so Nick's really trying to wear down Dana to go on a date, but they're out of this club, and once Lyle, he had the dance lessons, he had a crush on his dance instructor, I think it's Maria Elena, maybe, I don't know if that's Latin or not, but regardless, they go to the dance club, and she's one of the dancers who, again, like, not a strip club, but like really skimpy outfit, really throwing it back, and Lyle's really feeling it, and so he decides to approach her, starts chatting her up. It reminds her of his bad dance moves, and they kind of hit it off and he buys her a drink. Then another douchebags, frat boys come over, and they look like 35, so I don't know if they're supposed to be college-age kids or not, but they basically they get in a fight, Lyle and this dude, and the whole crew start fighting, and so that's really what's happening there. They had, big night out, and they show a lot of partying scenes where there's not much dialogue, and then they're all like looking over at the San Francisco Bridge, or the Golden Gate Bridge, and just kind of throwing up, hungover from the big party days. and then they're like trying to figure out how to get home, or if they're like sober enough to, I don't know if they're sober enough to drive, and just like asking questions to see if they can still get stuff done. And that's when they have the idea to, their app is going to be just something, a preventative measure that when you're intoxicated that helps you from yourself from sending a drunk text or making a bad phone call or something like that. So they code that on the way home, and they end up winning that challenge by having the most downloads in the morning. And so they end up winning that challenge, and that is their first win. And so now at this point, that the character development again of Billy and Nick being the older guys and the younger smart people kind of being pushing off the people that don't know technology, really that's when their characters and relationships develop into a more, a unified team, and they're really starting to work together. And so I'm not sure if there is another in-between challenge, but regardless, the next kind of big thing towards the end of the movie, they have 2 challenges left. They're certainly, I think they like kind of like, they win another challenge, but it's not like super big plot development. But regardless, towards the end, Nick's team and Billy's team and Lyle's team is competitive with Graham's team. And there's a bunch of other teams that just don't show anything with them. But regardless, the last 2 challenges are, well, the first thing happens is the second to last challenge is they have to run the Google helpline. And so they're studying for that. The whole team's pretty much got it going. Nick Campbell develops his tech skills while he's there. Billy's still just a salesman, not really picking up much of the tech, but again, well developed with the relationships amongst his team. And so they're studying, and Billy has to stay up all night studying just what does he do, because he can't just say a blanket statement and shove product down someone's throat. Literally his lines in the movie. And so, sorry about the sirens in the background, I'm having a train. But regardless, he stays up all night studying, he keeps messing up, and he has kind of like a heart-to-heart interaction with headphones, who they haven't really seen much of since like kind of like the beginning interaction when Billy and Nick sit down to eat with him. And so, regardless, headphones help him, or just like they just talk a little bit, and Billy studies up all night and gets prepared for the challenge of manning the hotline the next day. So the next day comes, they're all ready. Their team, Lyle's team, kills it. They're all stoked, and they have to record their logs so Mr. Chetty can review them after. And they all have to submit their logs, and Billy goes to submit his log, and he turns, he never turned on his counter. So the challenge required every participant to submit something, and so, god damn these sirens, I'm almost done, so fucking. But regardless, he doesn't have the submission thing done correctly, so his team gets disqualified or gets scored a 0, and he feels really bad about that. And he did genuinely mess up, and he decides to not be a burden, and he goes back to he had gotten, when Billy and Nick had originally gotten to Silicon Valley, they get a phone call from the dude who shut down his company. He's like, we have a new product to sell, and now the hot merchandise is scooters for elderly people. So you meet Randy, who is another well-known actor, Rob Riggle. But Jesus Christ, these fucking sirens. I wish I had a studio so I could record my fucking content. But am I allowed to be a fucking person? Absolutely fucking never. I'm not gonna watch this shit anyway, so let's get through it. Doesn't submit the call logs, goes to sell scooters. Randy's another raunchy character talking about banging like 80-year-olds. And so he's like, these ladies are down for some group play. And Billy's just like, oh fuck, what's this? But regardless, Nick comes to the rescue. He pulls up in a cab and talks Billy out of whatever is going on with the scooter sales, reminding him about how Billy came in and inspired Nick at the mattress store at the very beginning. Sirens finally fucking stopped. But anyway, I don't know if it was a tornado or what. But regardless, I wish I had a studio so I could do my content without being fucking harassed, denigrated, disrespected every 2 days at the absolute maximum. Absolute maximum. And so Nick talks Billy back into coming to the competition, and the last competition is to find a company that doesn't advertise with Google and sign them up for some sort of advertising program. And so the kids now, who are not great salespeople, are not extremely charismatic, they're trying to pitch this pizza joint who's run by this guy Sal, and that they failed to do so. Sal's, again, another warm-hearted dude, he's just like, set in his ways, I've been doing this my whole way, yellow pages, pamphlets, local advertising, but he's nice to the kids. And so Billy and Nick they're all sitting outside, Graham and his team go past, like, haha, we just got a sale on their Google bikes. And then Billy and Nick pull up, go back in, talk to Sal about just charismatic salespeople pitch, and ends up getting his business. Well, you see him negotiating, and there's a cut scene, and then Mr. Chetty's at it's a conference that's wrapping up the internship program, and he's like, this team is not here yet, so we're going to read the results. And right as he's about to read the results, they have a screen in the background, like a TV screen in the background, and it gets hacked, and it's like this dance song, and Lyle's team, they all come in throwing pizza boxes and dunking pizza on people's faces right before the announcement. And the rules for this competition was you're allowed to submit anything until the winners are read. And so the winners get read, or the points get recalculated, and basically Graham kind of pipes up and is like, one sale to a local pizza joint will not tip the scales in their favor. They won't win on that. And then Mr. Chetty, I don't know if it's in the business agreement or if he's just having it as a prospect, is like, this is a franchise agreement where it's going to have endless possibilities. So there's big celebration. Well, Graham at this point still is like, get somebody down here that runs something. So that's when Headphones comes down. He's like, I'm the most senior person here, and you've been in, tells them how great of a team Lyle and them came together. And Graham was kind of a dick to him right at the very beginning of the movie. And so Graham's all sad. He gets punched in the stomach by Zach, the fat kid, because during the Quidditch game, Graham's like, time to fake an injury, and like punches, and Zach's like, I don't know how to do that, so he like punches him in the gut. So Zach calls him over after they lose, and it's like, time to fake an injury, Graham, and punches him in the gut. Nick does end up getting a date with Dana. They go on a date. They hit it off, and she sends this cab home like, that was my ride home, and she's like, I know. And so no sex scenes, PG-13, but heavily implied. They do the coitusing, and then a big party. Now they're all happy. Everyone's celebrating because the winner of the internships get full-time positions. And Billy and Nick, as adults, they start immediately or whatever, and then the rest of the kids go back and finish their senior year of high school and then have jobs. And so they're all excited. Yo-Yo Santos stands up to his mom and then says his balls are now hanging down to his ankles, which is kind of a funny line. And then Stuart's like, oh, okay, man. It was just a funny one. Billy keeps going after Mr. Chetty to go grab some beers together as colleagues. And Mr. Chetty's like walking out the door like, nope. And Billy's chasing after him. Nick and Dana reconnect and like, well, it wasn't just a fun night, nope. And so now they're like a couple. Lyle and Marielena, they are a couple as well. And so that all the kids head off to get back on the bus, go back to their colleges, and then you just see like a panning out and then some credits. And so, again, I like the humor on this one. I thought the setting and his content matter of getting an internship at Google. I like the content, like the writing script. Thought it was funny. Could have been a little tighter on some of the ranting. And again, it is a little dated from 2013 about the Instagram jokes and the old people having no idea about tech type of thing. It's kind of aged, but feel good movie. Like the comedy, like the female cast, which is pretty standard. If you're not fat and female, pretty much into you. Jesus Christ. Well, regardless, A- overall, and thank you for watching another movie review. And I'll see you on the next one.